3, 2, 1. What's going on, comics fans? It is I, Ash. You were watching Ash on Comics, and it's been a little while since I've done a video. Sorry about that. Appreciate you coming back to watch more. I want to talk today about Skybound X. This is an imprint by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. You probably all know who he is. If you read comics, you've at least heard of the TV show. Skybound is his personal imprint. It's under Image Comics. And that may be confusing to some. I'm going to give a little explanation. Image Comics is unique in the comic business in that it is a publisher that is more like a traditional comic book publisher. Sorry, a traditional book publisher. And by that I mean a traditional book publisher doesn't worry so much about the properties that it's publishing. It doesn't, like Marvel Comics or DC Comics, they have their own stable of properties, and then they hire people to write and draw them and so forth. A book publisher seeks out authors, maybe Stephen King. Oh, you got a new book? I want to sign as an author. They're not necessarily saying, hey, we got these characters, Stephen, come write them. It's not what that's about. So Image works that way. If you are a comic creator, writer, artist, or whatever, you can pitch ideas to Image if they think that it's going to be something that might sell. If you impress them, they may offer you a contract. I don't know exactly how all the details work, but anyways, so certain creators that are big time, like Kirkman, Silvestri, Mark Silvestri has his own imprint, Top Cow. Jim Lee used to have Wildstorm. Anyways, a few of them have these imprints like that. This is Kirkman's Skybound. Now, I'm a big fan of Robert Kirkman, and I'm a big fan of Skybound as well, just judging by the fact that it, by far, gets the most books, gets the most of my money for the books, that I buy. I mostly buy indies these days because Marvel and DC are just so not good. I want them to be good. I love mainstream comics. I love the concept of mainstream comics, I should say. But just because, a thing is a thing, if it's not done well, I love hamburgers too, but I don't want a shitty hamburger, Anyways, I'm blabbing on here. So mostly I read indie comics, not by choice. But indie comics have really impressed me. And I'm very much a stickler. An indie comic has to be more impressive to me than a mainstream comic because I'm wanting to like the mainstream comic more than the indie, if that makes sense, So anyways, Skybound X. What this is a celebration of 10 years of Kirkman's imprint, Skybound. It was supposed to come out in 2020. It's actually a year late, but because of the COVID, blah, 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 here it is now. And what it is a 5-issue anthology series coming out weekly. This is the first issue, and it's big. It's over 60 pages. You can't see it here. I have just the digital copy up now, but the book is thick. It's prestige bound. I think that's the right term. No staples. It's very nice quality when you hold it in your hands. If you got the last issue of Walking Dead, it's roughly the same size as that, same kind of overall quality, although with color. And it's only $4.99. Now, I say only $4.99. You know me, I'm a big stickler. I think $3.99 is too much for a comic book. I think that's one of the big problems of the industry today. But be that we've accepted that price point. $4.99 for triple the size of the book. Only $1 more. It's one of those things that I applaud Robert Kirkman for. I mean, this is the guy that released the last issue of Walking Dead with no gimmicky extra covers or hologram covers or anything else. He didn't even announce that it was going to be the last issue. He could have sold a lot more if he did. and he only sold it for $3.99 because he cares about the fans. This book has been taking some flack. People have been like, it's what, but whatever. And I'm like, this is cheaper than an issue of Batman, because DC's raised all the prices on their books and they're going for broke. They have pushed out all their top creators, brought in cheapy creators, Tumblr writers, etc., and they're raising the prices. It's a thing. I can only blame AT&T for this. I've worked in other industries where I've worked with AT&T, and I understand a little bit of how they do business. And believe me, it's not about quality. That's not what their deal is. So this doesn't surprise me at all. Lower their costs, raise their prices. Some geniuses over at AT&T are patting themselves on the back. Yay, we're making more money. But, we in comics know in the long run that's not going to work. So I noped out 6 months ago. If you're still enjoying DC, good for you. Good guess. And I don't say that flippantly. I mean, it's good. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. I don't like it. And I just see the dark clouds on the horizon. Anyways, we're not here to talk about DC. We're here to talk about Skybound. I can see, some people probably tapping their watch going, get on with it, Ash. Whatever. This, if this is your first time watching an Ash on Comics video, this is me. I get what I call getting stuck in the weeds. I talk about comics. This is a hobby channel. I am not here to gain clicks. I'm not here to be a YouTube star. God knows I couldn't be a YouTube star. But I do love talking about comics, and a few other people like talking about comics and listening to what I have to say. So if you're one of them, thank you very much. I'm trying to give you bang for your buck. I'll give you lots of quality, not as a quantity. Anyways, so back to this book. It's a 5-issue celebration of the 10-year anniversaries, weekly comics. So 5 weeks we're going to be getting these, $4.99 an issue. It's really thick. Some people don't like it. What do I think? I like it. Now, caveat to this, always be transparent. I am predisposed to like this because I am a Skybound fan. If you're just Joe Schmo on the street, I've heard of Robert Kirkman before. This is probably not the book for you. This is a book for the fans of this imprint, and who have been, maybe not for 10 years, because I certainly haven't been following him for 10 years. But Robert Kirkman's been around for longer, actually. He's been around almost, he started his first book at Image in 2003, I think it was. So almost 18 years. Anyways, this book is, like I said, it's just a celebration. I'm getting distracted. You can tell me. You can tell right now. The gears are spinning. They're grinding. This book features 4 stories in it. The cover is Rick Grimes 2000. Now, the way this works is this story will be serialized over all 5 issues. It is a story of Rick Grimes. It's kind of a spoiler story to The Walking Dead. It's going to be. I don't know how else to avoid this, but if you aren't aware, spoiler, big huge spoilers. Walking Dead was caused by aliens, and this is kind of a crazy bonkers story where they meet the aliens. Now, what's interesting about this particular story, it's colored. It's a new story. It's drawn by Ryan Ottley. Now, Ryan Ottley was his collaborator. Well, the second artist on and the ongoing artist on Invincible, the good artist. He came on somewhere before issue 10. I can't remember the exact number, but he was the good artist. And, Invincible is a great book. This is a story of our boy, I'm drawing a Rick Grimes, the title character, Rick Grimes 2000, and fighting aliens. The aliens have come because the Walking Dead have made it so that Earth could be harvested, killed all the humans, and there's some cool stuff. Now, it's funny, when I look at this, you look at scenes like this looks like Invincible to me. And I think that's kind of the point. Very much juxtaposition, if that's the right word. But I think, again, this is just a fan story. Because if you're a fan of Robert Kirkman, you probably like Invincible. You probably like Walking Dead. And just kind of getting this mishmash. Like I said, it's a little bit bonkers. We get to see Michonne with a lightsaber to a zombie's face. And we get to see her get her face snapped off by the governor, who has Lori, and a lot of weird stuff. We get to see the aliens. It's just weird. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I think it's really good fun. The Walking Dead sort of played out, and you've got The Walking Dead, and it's like tied up in a nice little bun. So what they do with it now, whatever. I'm curious to see where this goes. It's really feels written like Invincible. It's really got this sort of oddball theatrics to it, and that was my taste. I'm curious to be what you felt. It is short, but it is to be continued. Then we get the second story is an ULTRAMEGA story, Skybound imprint. ULTRAMEGA, I've talked about this. I do a show with my boy Skip and Tosh called the Unnamed Mini Comic Show. We've featured all 4 issues of ULTRAMEGA, and we're going to continue on when it comes out of hiatus. ULTRAMEGA is my #1 comic of 2021. Like, not even close. Well, I could make an argument, I guess, for Erratic was really fantastic too, but it was a miniseries. It's done. ULTRAMEGA is phenomenal. I would say it's a perfect comic. Like, there's nothing about it that I don't like. The worst I can say is that I'm not a tokusatsu fan. I'm not a fan of kaiju stuff. Like, I'm not into that genre. I mean, it's fine. I love Pacific Rim. So if it's good, it's fine. But that's the worst I can say about it. The art is fantastic. The writing is great. And the world is awesome. The characters. I just love everything. I go back and I read it again and again because I don't do that with mini comics. So anyways, there's an ULTRAMEGA story. To me, even though this is a little short thing, this is worth the $4.99 for me because I'm a fan. Now, the art in this particular story is not quite as good as the art in the ongoing books. It's still good, but I feel like James Herron might have rushed it a little bit to be like, oh, you need something special, here you go, boom, and he put it out there. It doesn't have quite the level of detail that I'm used to. He really does put a lot of detail, like in the backgrounds, and it's a quaint little story. It's not going to knock your socks off. You're not going to read and go, oh my God, and it's probably going to bore you if you don't read ULTRAMEGA at all. Anyway, if you don't know ULTRAMEGA, you're going to read this and be like, what the hell did I just read? But if you're a fan of ULTRAMEGA, it's kind of like when you get a Blu-ray of your favorite movie and you go to get to see the cool cutscenes like that was cut out of the movie. Because you're a fan, you're like, yeah, that was awesome. Like, you're going to suck this up too, like I did. I love ULTRAMEGA, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. Like, it's awesome. The next is a story that's out of Manifest Destiny. Now, this is not a book that I read at all, so I've heard good things about it. I don't read it. It just never made it on my radar. Maybe I'll check it out. Now, this story that's in here, initially I skipped and then I came back and read it because I just was going to do a review. I was like, I should be thorough. I wasn't interested. And this story apparently is not even really part of the greater Manifest Destiny thing. It's almost like a side skit. When I read this, it kind of reminded me of the shorts when you watch a Pixar movie and they do like the little short animated story before the movie. That's what this reminded me of. And it's not the Pixar art style, but it just has that flavor. It's very cartoony. It also has a little Looney Tunes kind of feel to it. And it's cute, and I really like the art. I like cartoon art, good cartoon art. And this one is that, in my opinion. again, it's not going to blow you away, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this probably more than everything up except for the Ultra Mega, and that's just because of my predisposition. If I wasn't an Ultra Mega fan, if I had never read Ultra Mega, this would probably be my favorite thing. And like I said, it's not because it blew me away. I just really like the art. It's something I could go back and flip through and look at again and again. I just like some of the funny little scenes. Like this is the weird random violence that cracks me up with cartoon animals. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm glad this was here. It was interesting. And then finally we get Clementine. So this is the big thing of the book. This is the reason to buy it if you're a collector, because this is the first appearance of Clementine in the comic books. And I did not know this until I read the book itself. This isn't just a first appearance of her and like they're going to do a little cute little story and move on or whatever. They're launching a Clementine series. And so I was like, oh, yes, finally you're going to bring back Walking Dead. Like, why? I've talked about this before. They should have never canceled Walking Dead. Like that, I mean, I guess I get it that Robert Kirkman wants to move on and do other things. That's fine. I get it that he wants to end his story. That too is fine. End your story. Was it 193, I think was the last issue? End it. Go on hiatus for 6 months. Then go find a creative team that you like. You're Robert Kirkman. You could go find your creative team and say, look, I want to tell more Walking Dead stories because there's obviously more stories out there to tell. I've told my story. I've let it sort of congeal and people think that it's over. I want to continue the story. I'm going to hire you guys. You tell your like story in my world, you know, just like Marvel Comics does, right? You know, Stan Lee, after he was done telling his characters that he created, he would pass off the torch and say, okay, you come write this now. I thought Robert Kirkman, that'd be great, and we could tell more stories. And I heard about this Clementine, and I'm like, oh, that's what they should have done. They could have started issue 194, a Clementine story. Drop the ball. First of all, this story's fine. Especially, it's really meant to be like if you're a fan of the games, which they're great. The first one especially is fantastic. The first Walking Dead, the video games from Telltale, it's better than the TV show. I've said that since the beginning. Very fantastic. If you're a Walking Dead fan, you absolutely should play those games. Clementine is obviously the main character. Well, she is after the first one. And this is interesting. You know, she's a teenager. She's grown up. And it's a short story, so you don't get a lot of depth. It's going to be for the fans. I wasn't a big fan of the art here. It is an indie book. I don't expect a ton. Walking Dead's always been more of about the story than the art. You know, but even then, I'm just like, really? And I got through it, and it's like, oh, Clementine returns. So okay, great. And about the creator, okay, I don't know who this person is. Tilly Wall, okay, she does some stuff. And they talk about, oh, here we're going to do, and this is it. I was like, what the? They're doing it like the DC Young Adult. So they're bringing back Walking Dead as a YA, series of YA graphic novels. Like, have you seen the DC graphic novels that they do, that they're abominations? Like, and you're like, what? Who the hell wants these? I'm sure these will be better than the DC, just from reading the little tale that's in here. But it's still not, like, Walking Dead's not for little girls. Like, what is this? This should have been Walking Dead 194 Clementine story. Go. Okay. I am a little bit prejudging. I don't exactly know how this is going to turn out. All I have is the sneak peek of this little story. But we'll see. I'll try to be open-minded. But this took the wind out of my sails. And I guess that's, I'm doing this video. I have to be transparent with you. I think hopefully that's what you want. Whether you like my opinion or you hate my opinion, I hope, my dearest hope, is that you could at least walk away going, you know what, at least Ash believes what he says. He's always being honest with me and shooting me straight. Like, he may have a dumb opinion, I may hate it, but he's not blowing smoke up my skirt. He's not shilling stuff. He's not being fake. This is what I think. And me, that's what I find interesting when I watch videos for personalities and people, and just hearing what, that's what I want. So that's what I do. By the way, here's the complete series of Walking Dead. These compendiums, they're like phone books. And if you're a millennial or a Zoomer, phone books are things that they used to have before the internet, and they would drop them off on your doorstep, and it would be a big, thick-ass book of the phone numbers of every business and add, you know, home, you know, so you'd have, because you couldn't look up stuff. You're like, what's a phone book? They really haven't been around a long time. Anyways, these are gigantic. They're $50 MSRP, but you can find them online oftentimes, like on sale. I've seen them on Amazon, like for like, I think the cheapest I've seen them go is like $27.99 on sale. But that's really great they're over 1,000 pages. They're like 50 issues each, so or thereabouts. So you can get the entire series for, if you, like I said, if you're frugal and you wait for sales like I do, maybe like a little over $100. Get them all. You don't have to get them all at once. That's fantastic. This is the way to go, the economical way. And here's Manifest Destiny. I might have to check this out sometime. I'm really just curious. This is the book to get. If you missed out on the singles, you can still find them. There's multiple printings of it. This is a book worth collecting. I said I am ecstatic about this book. But here's when the October 21 is going to be the collected. I'll probably get this too, just because I'm a super fan. I don't care about that. And here's the issue 2. I'm going to be getting the Birthright cover, of course, because there's multiple covers, because Birthright is one of my favorite books. What's your favorite books? Are you getting this? Do you care about this? Did you make it this far to the video? Did I bore you to tears? I don't know. I just thought I would make a video about this book, telling you what it is, telling you what my impression is. For $4.99, if you are a Skybound fan, this is worth it, I think, for the celebratory part alone. One final thing that is worth a note: if you are a collector, Robert Kirkman has stated that these will not be reprinted in trade. They will not be collected in trade. So for collector purposes, that you got to get these now. And I appreciate that as a collector. That might help them be valuable. We get the first appearance of Clementine. Future issues, they've said, are going to tease about the future of the next 10 years of Skybound and have first appearances of future books. So if you are one of those speculator people, maybe you're going to be interested in that. I'm bravo for keeping the price point down. I think doing a thing like this once every 10 years is something I can definitely be on board for. And is it the best book that I've read? No. I mean, none of these stories blew me away. I like I said, just because I'm a fan of ULTRAMEGA, I geeked out on that, but I still like having it. And I'm still much more impressed with this book than what I'm seeing over at Marvel and DC, so there's that too. Anyways, I've made this video way too long as it is. Thanks for getting this far. Like, subscribe, dislike if you hate it. Put comments down below. Just engage. Tell me what your thoughts are, what your opinions. I love seeing comments. I like hearing other people's opinions. Even if you disagree with me, I like hearing, you know, we all have different world perspectives. Sometimes we see things differently. Tell me what Skybound books are your favorites. Am I missing out on anything? And that's it. I'll see you next time.